Hey everyone, this is Chris from X1 Whips bringing you your August 101 challenge, and this month we're going to be talking about crackers. So as most of you know, when you're out cracking your whips, it can be very easy to get your cracker so tangled that it's just unable to undo it anymore, or you might just use your cracker so much that there's nothing left. So what we're going to cover is how to make crackers. I'm going to show you some different materials and methods that you can use to make them for yourself, and then I'll show you how to swap out the cracker. So your challenge for this month is to make your own cracker using one of the methods that I show you, and to swap it out on one of your whips. Let's do it. When it comes to making crackers, there's a lot of different materials that you can use. Really, it comes down to what's available to you and personal preference. Different cracker materials will have different characteristics. Some will crack a little louder, but it'll be a sharper or a thinner crack. Some will crack a little softer, but it might be more durable of a cracker. And some crackers have a tendency to knot up on themselves more or less than others. So some of the materials that I've got here for you to look at are polypropylene twine. So this is available at most Home Depots. For the Canadians out there, Canadian Tire will carry this. And wherever you are, you should be able to find some form of baling twine, polypropylene twine, something like that. These make very durable crackers, but a lot of people find them to be not as loud as the thinner materials. And some don't like that plasticky look. Personally, I'm a huge fan of these. I use them all the time for my own whips. Some other materials that you can use are wax nylon thread. So any sewing thread or wax nylon thread can be used to make crackers. Kevlar thread is also very common. So anything like Kevlar bowstring, Kevlar thread, and you can even use artificial sinew. Some people do use this to make crackers. And as a bonus, I'll show you how to make a cracker out of paracord as well. These are common for some working whips, cow whips, juggling whips. There's a nice little cracker that we can make just out of paracord as well. So let's get into making them. The first method I'm going to show you for making a cracker is the hand twisted method. This is my preferred method. I find it gives you a really nice consistent cracker every time. Some people tend to think this is a little bit of a slower way to make crackers, but once you have the rhythm of it, it's just as fast as any of the other methods. So all you need for this method is something to twist your cracker around. I just use a lacing needle and put it in a desk vise just like that. But really you can use anything as long as you have something to wrap the cords around. So this could be a command hook on a desk. This could be just a little loop of paracord tied to a banister, a chair leg, anything, as long as you have something that you can wrap the strands around. So for the cracker itself, I use 2-foot lengths. I find that for me, this creates the right size that I'm looking for in a cracker. Again, there's a lot of variance here. Some people like crackers that are thicker, thinner, longer, shorter. So if you want to make a thinner cracker, use less material. With the poly, because of how thick it is already, 2 strands is kind of the smallest that you can make it. But if you're using something like, a wax nylon or a Kevlar, you can decide to do 3 strands or 4 strands, depending on how thick you want that cracker. And how long you cut the strands is just going to be related to how long of a cracker you want. So for my crackers, I tend to do 6 inches of twist and 3 inches of tassel. And to achieve that, I get 2-foot lengths. And that works really well for me. So now that I have these lengths, I'm going to put both ends together. I'm going to find the middle, and I'm going to loop it over that peg. So I've got the middles here of both strands, and I'm going to come right up here. I'm going to pinch both of these ends between my thumb and forefingers, and I'm going to twist both sides clockwise. So very important, you're twisting both of these the same direction, so clockwise, and then counter twist counterclockwise. So again, you're going to twist these 2, and it doesn't have to be a big twist, and then back. Twist and back, twist and back. So once you get a good rhythm with this, you can get pretty fast. And every now and again, I just like to take my fingers and massage what I'm twisting, just to make sure everything is laying nice and neat. So again, we're twisting both strands clockwise and then counter twisting those strands against each other. So that's going to get it to lock together. This is actually exactly how twisted rope is made. All right, give that a little massage. We're probably getting close to that 6-inch mark, so let's take a look. I'll have my measuring tape here. There we are, 6 inches. So once you've reached 6 inches, it's time to knot off the cracker. Some people just like to put a big overhand knot here. I find it's a little too chunky, so what I like to do, I like to take the strand that's on top, pinch that end of the twist, and with this strand we're going to come around the back that you've twisted and down through the hole and snug everything up. This makes a really nice streamlined knot in the cracker. Doesn't interfere very much, looks very clean. Then we're going to measure that 3 inches of tassel and cut. And there you have your cracker. So the second method of making a cracker I'm going to show you is the twisted method using a pair of hemostats. So for this method, I still have my 2 pieces of 2-foot string. I'm going to take my hemostats, I'm going to clip 2 of these ends together. So what the hemostats are doing is providing a weight that I can hold up like this and spin. So I'm going to spin the hemostats, I'm going to get some twist built up. So again, just give it a nice, good twist. As for the exact tension, it's going to take a little bit of trial and error until you figure out where you like it. I like my crackers to be a little tighter, so I'm going to make sure that I give it a little bit of extra. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find the midway point. So here, fold them over, and let go. So the same way that we were twisting the same direction over the hook and then back twisting, it's exactly what's happening here. So we're spinning them all the same direction, and then when we let them twist around each other, we're letting them backspin to form that twist. So now you're just going to find that 6-inch mark from the end. Here we are, so 6 inches is right here. We're going to put a half knot in at that 6-inch mark. Unclip the hemostats. We'll find our 3 inches of tail. Actually, we're pretty much right on this time. And just cut the ends clean. And there we have it. The third and final method for making a cracker I'm going to show you is a paracord cracker. So these are really neat little crackers. A lot of people like them for working whips just because they're very, very quick to make, they're pretty durable, they're very easy, and you don't need special materials. A lot of us already have paracord kind of lying around somewhere. So all you do for this, depending on how long you want the cracker, you can use different lengths. This one is 11 inches. So I'm going to take one end with the guts still there. I'm going to use my lighter, and I'm just going to melt a clean little bead on one end. So we're just going to get that all melted up. Perfect, so that's one end. The other end, we're going to take the strands on the inside, and we're just going to give a little bit of a pull back. Again, this is really preference for what you find that you like, and we're going to cut those gut strands right out. Because we melted the one end, we're not going to worry about those gut strands pulling out entirely. They're going to be anchored back here at the melt. We're going to have a stretch of ungutted, and then we're going to put a knot in the end here, just like so, a little overhand knot. And then you can take a fid, screwdriver, toothpick, anything that has a little bit of a point to it, and just fray out what's left here. If you don't have something to fray out the ends, just crack the whip a couple times. This will fray for you. This is just a way of getting it ready in advance. I'm gonna finish fraying it out. And there we have it. It's that simple. This is probably the fastest of all the crackers. It's very, very easy just to sit down and make a whole bunch of these at once. You don't need anything to twist on. You don't need hemostats to spin. They're very, very nice and easy. And there we have it. So now we're going to take those crackers that we made in the first part of the challenge, and we're going to attach them to our whip. So here's the end of the fall of one of my whips. So it's the whips you saw earlier. So I've taken the old cracker off. And as you can see, most whips, especially nylon whips, just end in this single strand just like that. So for a nylon whip, what we're going to do is we're going to open the end of the cracker, that little eye. We're going to pass the end of the fall through. Now you can use this method for leather whips, but leather whips tend to be a little bit thicker. The fall is a heavier material than a single piece of nylon paracord. So this can end up being quite chunky on a leather whip, what I'm about to show you. But for a synthetic whip, this works really nicely. So now that we have the cracker just kind of on the fall like that, we're gonna take the end of the fall, we're gonna come behind the cracker, we're gonna go through the hole that it makes, and we're just gonna pull down on the cracker to snug everything up. There we are. It's a nice quick hitch, very, very quick and easy to do, very secure. This is my go-to method with all of my synthetic whips, just like that. Now I'll show you how to do it for a leather whip. Again, you can use this method. It's just gonna be a quite chunky little end here. So I'm gonna show you another method. Just like there are many ways to make your crackers, there's many ways to attach them to your whip as well. You're gonna see a lot of different people with different methods that they swear by. They'll say it's the only way that works. And some of them are better than others. Some of them have a tendency to slip off or to make a really bulky end. The method that I really like for attaching to a leather whip is, again, to open up the end of the cracker, that eye there, pass the fall through. So just like we did with the nylon whip. But this time, instead of taking the end of the fall and wrapping around, we're going to take the cracker, we're gonna come behind the fall, we're gonna go down through the hole that we made, and making sure that this doesn't slide off while we're tightening, we're just gonna tighten everything down, making sure that we leave a little bit of space here between the two loops that form. So when we do that and we give it a real tight pull, you'll notice that it forms a very slight kink in the leather. This makes a really strong, solid bond. You're gonna have a little bit of a tail. You can slip this closer to the end. The closer to the end you are, the more likely that you are just to break off that little tip or to have it slide off if it does move at all. But there we have attaching to a leather whip. So now that you've seen how to make your own crackers and how to attach them to your whips, it's your turn to give it a try. You can use any of the methods that I've shown you in the challenge here, or if you have your own method, feel free to show that as well. There's a lot of ways to do this. What I've shown you is just a few different ways to get you started, but if you have your own method, we'd love to see it, and let's go cracking. Love the sound of fresh crackers in the morning.